Hey guys, welcome to this video where we are going to talk about the skyscraper funnel. And a skyscraper funnel for an authority site is going to be your bread and butter link building. So that's something you want to pay close attention to. So let's get started. So the skyscraper technique has been used by SEOs for a while, but recently became trendy again from Brian Dean from backlinko.com. And I actually suggest you go read his post about the skyscraper technique, which is on backlinko.com/skyscraper-technique. And let me just explain what it is though. For a classic skyscraper, the method is pretty simple. The first thing you do is you find a highly linked to competitor piece of content. So what I mean by that is a piece of content that collected a lot of links, something that did really well for them. And you're gonna just identify that through a bunch of techniques we're going to talk about in this blueprint. And then what you're gonna do is once you've identified that piece of content, you are going to create a better version of it. So, it's going to be updated, it's going to look better, it's going to be better research. You will have an angle in which it's going to be better than them. And then once you have that better piece of content on your site, then you can just reverse engineer who is linking to your competitors' content, and you can outreach to them and tell them about your brand new piece of content that has better design, more updated information. It's just better for them to send their traffic your way than it is to send to your competitor. And then, a percentage of these people are going to either add your link to the page or change the link from your competitor to a link to your site. And you will get high quality editorial links, usually in content, pointing to deep pages on your site. So it's a great way to grow your domain authority as well as rank deep pages. And that's it. Most SEOs stop right here. They got the link, they got what they wanted, they will hopefully rank higher on Google, and that's where they stop. That's the skyscraper technique. Now, what we're going to talk about here is not the skyscraper technique, it's the skyscraper funnel. And the reason we talk about skyscraper funnel is because the whole skyscraper technique that we use it as a compliance test to see who is enthusiastic about the content we create and who is not. And if people are ready to take time out of their days for you to go on their site to edit an old piece of content, point it to your site, and usually when they've done that, they actually have reviewed your content. So these are very compliant people that could do a lot more for you than just giving you a single link. And that's what we call the skyscraper funnel rather than a skyscraper technique. So we actually will get more out of the people that say yes from the initial skyscraper technique. So it's not just a way to get links, it's a way to identify the potential people that could both give you reach and are enthusiastic about your brand. So, usually a skyscraper funnel looks something like this, and that's the blueprint you're seeing right now on that page. And because it was a little complicated, we did not include finding the content, making better content, etc. We just talked about the outreach in this blueprint. So once you have a contact that links to your competitor, you first outreach to them and ask them, hey, do you just want to see the content? If people don't even want to see it, there is no way they're going to want to link to it. So just ask if they want to see it. It's less aggressive. It's less needy. You don't approach people just asking something right away. Just, hey, I've got something that your readers might like. You want to see it? And if they say no or they just don't reply, you just drop them and never talk to them again. And we're going to see how we actually mark these people so that we never outreach to them again and we become quite efficient in our outreach. And if they say, yes, I want to see it, then send them the link and say, hey, do you want to link to it as well? Well, that's where we get to the end of this classic skyscraper where, people will say, yes, I want to give you a link, or no, I don't want to give you a link. And usually most people will stop there. But the thing is, there is a bunch of things we can ask them on top, and we're going to go over each of these things, but this is an example of one I run very, very frequently on healthambition.com. So when they link to us and they say yes, then I say, hey, do you want to post on our website as well? Do you want to post a guest post? Because when I ask them to post a guest post, I know that, I'm going to get free content from people that are experts in the industry and also have an audience. So when they post their guest post, then I'm like, hey, will you share your own guest post to your audience? And that gives me access to their audience. Very, very easy way to get visitors and get access to people's audiences. And then I put them in what I call my editorial panel, where it's basically just an email list. And at the beginning of the month, I tell people, hey, we're looking for new content or we're not. And I get people to guest post 3, 4, 5 times on the site. And I save hundreds of dollars in content because people give it to us for free. Now, some people will say, no, we don't want to link to it. That happens. Well, I have my backup funnel, which is the one we're going to talk just after. And it's basically, hey, you don't want to link to it? Will you at least share it with your audience? And if not, like, will you tell me why? Because then I get editorial feedback. I'm able to actually improve our content in the future so that I get more people to say yes to it when I want to get the links. And also I might get a share, and I might get, someone that's not willing to link, but someone that's willing to share my content on an ongoing basis. So we actually have 7 of these subfunnels that you can add up after your skyscraper outreach. And let's just go through them right now. So the first one is the backup, the one I just talked about, is people that, wanted to see your content, reply to you, but will not take the time to go and link to it. Maybe they don't know how to edit their website. Maybe they just have this strict editorial policy where they just don't edit all the content. Anything like that, it happens, and there's no point getting personal about it. It's just part of the game. But what you can do is you can say, hey, will you at least share it? And if they don't, then ask why. What's really bad about my content so it's not even worth sharing? And you get a bunch of feedback from these people. It's not always great. Some people might have weird ideas and so on, and you need to be okay with that. But overall, these people, especially if they have an audience that matches the audience you'd like to acquire for your site, can give you really invaluable feedback that you'd pay a lot of money to get otherwise. So it's a great way to get shares or to get feedback on your content so you get shares and links later. That's my backup. That's the least you get out of the people that just reply to your first email. The second subfunnel is to host a guest post. I just talked about it a second ago as well. It's basically people that said, yes, I'll link or I'll share. Some people will not link, but people will share. And I'm going to go and check their content. I'll go on their site and I'll be like, do I want content like that on my site? And, do I want to be exposed to their audience? And if the answer is yes, if the content is pretty good and matches my editorial standards, then I am going to reply back and I'll say, thank you so much for sharing our content or linking to it. I'd like to repay the favor by offering you access to our audience. If you want a guest post on our site, I'll be emailing that guest post to our email list, so that will give you some exposure. And then you can share it with your audience as well, so we get mutual benefits from that. And I usually frame it as a repay to people so that it works really well. So we're going to talk about that in a sub-lesson later. Then I have my sharing army, which is really powerful. So it's subfunnel number 3. For the people that say yes to linking and sharing, then I offer them to promote our content in exchange for promoting their content on a regular basis. And I call that my sharing army. And usually what I do is I just automate the sharing for their content. And whenever I have a big piece of content that I'd like to get exposure to, just give it some boost, then I have that list of people that said, yes, I want to cross-promote with you. And that's a very easy way for me to get hundreds of shares and get in front of a lot of people really quickly, especially as you build this sharing army to be hundreds of people. Very, very, very powerful way of promoting your future content. Another one that I have is to get more backlinks, actually. So if people link to us, so it's not a share in this case, it's just link. Well, I actually build a search engine for their website, and whenever I publish new content, I search that topic on their website, and I'm able to see if they wrote about this. And if they did, I'm able to run the skyscraper again on them. I know they said yes before, so it's a very easy way to get links to these pages. I'm like, hey, you linked to me before. Here's a new piece of content that talks about that, and actually it matches with that page on your website. Let me just give you a paragraph to add to this piece of content. That'd be great to help us out. And by the way, I'm sharing your content regularly, and you basically feel like you're helping each other out. My 5th funnel is if you're selling a product. So it doesn't apply to everyone, but if you're selling an info product or something like that on your site, or even a physical product, and people said, yes, I will link or share, they're obviously enthusiastic about what you're all about. Otherwise, they would not share or link for your website. So what you can do is you can be like, hey, you seem to like what we're doing. Do you want to promote our product to your audience? And we'll cut you a check. We'll give you a percentage of that, of the sales you generate. And that's a great way to recruit affiliates after getting backlinks. And that can, transform this process into a very lucrative process, because you're getting people that will actually send you customers, not just links and shares. And the 7th subfunnel, if you don't have a product, that's a good one to fall back on as well. So people said, yes, I will link and share. And if they have a product, is in this case, so like you don't necessarily have a product, but they do, like they're an e-commerce store, they are selling training, they are selling services, then you offer them to co-host a giveaway, and you can learn how to do giveaways inside the Authority Hacker blueprints. So you can just offer them, hey, let's do a giveaway together. I'll promote it to my audience, you promote it to your audience, you provide the prizes, I provide the tech, I handle everything for the giveaway, and we will both get more social media followers and email subscribers. And then you just make an incentive for people to follow both you and the person that you're doing a giveaway with on social, and they see the benefit from it because they get exposure about their product and they get more social followers. Great way to run giveaways, get more subscribers to your list, etc. And the final subfunnel we're going to talk about is landing an expanded guest post. So expanded guest post, we talk about it in the content upgrade blueprint usually, but if people will link and share on your site and they have a pretty sizable audience, then instead of having them guest post on your site, maybe you can guest post on their site. And the trick is to actually add a content upgrade on that guest post so that if they email it to their list, there's going to be thousands of people reading that guest post, and you can link to something that's downloadable, a lead magnet usually, and you can collect hundreds of emails from such guest posts. I've actually landed 300 something emails last week using that very technique. So it works pretty well, and you get backlinks, you get more backlinks, you get emails, and you basically have an opt-in page hosted on their site. It's a great thing to do. So now, before we finish that video, I'm just going to talk about 3 reasons why, the skyscraper funnel especially should be your bread and butter link building method. And that's really like, if you want to build more links, just start with that. Pretty much that's it. So the first reason is you will never get penalized. These sites, they're not PBNs. They are not running SEO most of the time. They don't do SEO. The people that will link to you, they don't really understand what the links really do. But that's a great thing for you. They are real sites run by real people. It's also editorially approved, which is what Google really wants. They are okay for you to do link building, but they want the host websites to editorially approve your link and not to be approving everyone. So, sites that have some standards, but say that you're good enough for them. So you will never get penalized for that kind of links. It's great if you want to build a long-term site and you want to build your domain authority. It's powerful. The second one is it's a great way to network. If you run the skyscraper funnel, you are gonna make friends in your industry, with your sharing army, by doing guest posts, by hosting guest posts, by running giveaways together, by doing all these things. You will build relationships that will pay off later, and you will have a network in your industry, which very few, internet marketers that are not exactly in a niche really get to have. And that funnel will actually make you do that. And it's the whole relationship building thing where you help each other and so on. That's it. You run this process and you have all of that. And the final reason why this is your bread and butter is literally you have unlimited link targets. You just need to scratch your head a little bit and tackle different sub-niches. So for example, we are in a health niche, right? And there's like a finite number of health sites that would link to us. It is true. However, we can take a sub-niche. So for example, I could talk about how video games make people smarter. And then I could outreach to video game sites to get links from them. And then I could talk about how yoga helps back pain. And then I could outreach to yoga sites, and so on, and so on, and so on. So you can actually brainstorm sub-niches and get links from many, many, many sites. It's very hard to run out of targets if you do your skyscraper properly. So that's it. I'll see you in the first lesson where we're gonna see how we can find the seed content, how we can look into our competitors and find their highly linked pages and all that stuff. So I'll see you in the next video. I hope you had fun.